Welcome back, traveler. Today we are delving deeper into the EDH ban list. Last time we left at the beginning of the anti-fan category. If you haven't watched part 1, you really don't want to miss out. You can find the link in the description below. And now let's continue. This is Eve. If you're interested, come take a peek into the culture. Next up is Leoveold, Emissary of Threst. So this is a legendary creature, Elf Advisor, the first commander we see, and it's in Sultai colors, a black, a green, a blue, and it's a 3/3. So why is it banned? Many reasons, I believe, many good reasons. Each opponent can draw more than one card each turn as long as he's in play. Yeah. And then, because, that wouldn't be good enough by itself, whenever you or a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. So even if your opponent tries to remove this or any other permanent of yours, you get advantages. So this card, I used to play it when it was legal, a long time ago. And I wasn't playing a Leovold deck. I just started the commander and I built an Atraxa Super Friends deck. I really loved Planeswalkers and the Atraxa had cool colors. I don't love red, so redless Planeswalkers, yay. I read Leovold. I didn't know nothing about the game. It really was bad. I played random cards. Some of them very strong, some of them very bad. And when I read Leovold, I was like, why shouldn't I play this? Without any synergy, nothing. No wheels that make every player draw one card and you have everything. It was just insane anyway, because your opponent wouldn't be able to draw extra cards. And he's not a Planeswalker like Narset, so he cannot be killed very easily. And when he does, you still get to draw, and it's a blocker, and it's a creature. And played like that would have been busted. No, I wouldn't say busted, but very powerful anyway. Played in the command zone. I have never seen it, thankfully, but if you build around Leovold, there's a funny card called the Ferris Puzzle Box that makes every player basically wield their hand every turn, except instead of the graveyard they put it in the bottom of their library. And you guessed it, with Leovold in play, no one can have any cards in their hand forever. But really, you're in blue, you have a gajillion wheels with Leovold in play, no one can have any cards but you. You keep refilling your hand over and over again. And again, it punishes your opponent for killing it by giving you cards. And it costs only 30 mana, so it's not hard to replay if it gets killed. So the only thing I'm sad for Leovold is its artwork is incredible. It's one of the most detailed artwork I've ever seen on a Magic card. Look at all the detail. Let me zoom in for you. Look at this. Look at this. It's insane. Everything is so detailed. Magali, you had no reason to do it, but you put so much detail. Look at the cathedral behind them. Look at everything. The candles, half consumed at different heights. All the books. Everything, every single thing on these books. Look at this. It's insane, just insane. I cannot even speak. The coins, look at the coins. Every single coin spread out. His face is so many detail. It's absurd. I think it's one of Magali's best artworks. And she's one of the biggest Magic artists. She still gets commissioned today many times, every set. She's amazing. That's the only thing I'm sad about Leovold, is that I cannot put him into play and no one else can, so you'll not see it. But yeah, this card is just really busted and really not funny to play against. So he must stay in the ban list. Even if he's sure we can come to an arrangement, I believe we can't, Leovold. I believe we can. Let's go over to some artifact. Panoptic Mirror for 5 mana. It's an artifact that says imprint. You play X and you tap it and you remove an instant or sorcery card with a converted mana cost X in your hand from the game. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may copy an imprinted instant or sorcery card and play the copy without paying its mana cost. So why is Panoptic Mirror banned? So this one, again, I put it in the annoying categories because it makes the game repetitive somewhat. So there aren't many fun ways to play Panoptic Mirror. The reason it's banned is because people used it to make infinite turns. So you pay 5, you play Panoptic Mirror, you play 5 again, you tap Panoptic Mirror, you exile any extra turn spell, you go at your turn, the extra turn spell is activated, and it activates on any extra turn, so you win the game. Now, that combo is strong, sure, but it's also a lot of mana. 5 for the artifact itself, and then you need to pay mana and tap it to imprint the card. And it doesn't happen until the beginning of your upkeep. So there's still a round table turn to answer this. I don't think this card deserves to be banned anymore. I think this is a relic. There are many ways to go infinite with turns. And even if you don't, if you chain extra turn cards together, you'll eventually win the game anyway. You don't need this card. But on the other hand, there aren't many quote-unquote fun uses for this card. Why are you imprinting in Panoptic Mirror? A Wrath of God? That'd be that'd be fun. I don't think it would. What else can you imprint? A removal spell? A counter spell? Maybe you could imprint something like a tooth and nail for a gajillion mana, but it would be so inefficient that you would never do it. So I really don't see any use case for Panoptic Mirror over than just going infinite returns. And since the card would not be played if it was legal, or it would be played with infinite turns, it's in the Banlist to remind you that taking infinite turns in Commander is a jerk move. It should come off, but it's there, no one cares about it. If you think Panoptic Mirror is fun, I mean, there's, I guess the funniest card you could play to it, thinking about it, it's Aminato Zagori. I think Zagori would be kind of funny to throw on a Panoptic Mirror and everything you get to spin the wheel and see what you get. Kind of funny, but again, 13 mana for it. I'm not sure about it. Still, it should come off. It could be fun in some meme decks. And if you're planning on going infinite with turns, there are other ways to do it. You don't need Panoptic Mirror, so it's there for no real reason. I think it's a relic of the ancient times. Next up is Sundering Titan. He's a big bad boy for 8 mana, it's an artifact creature, it's a 7/10. It's been reprinted many times, so I'm sure you know what it does, but in case you don't, when it comes into play you choose a land of each basic land type, and they are destroyed. And then you do it again when it leaves the battlefield. So, why is this card banned? The reason is Blink. So if you play it, it's a 7/10 for 8. You destroy up to 5 basic land if there are enough to choose from. And when it dies you do it again, so you can destroy a decent amount of lands. But the real problem comes when you blink it, because when you blink it, it gets really efficient. So when it enters and when it leaves, it destroys up to 10 lands. Every single time you blink it, you do it all over again, because it's a leave effect, not a die effect. So it will work with cards like Teleportation Circle or Cloud Shift. So it will be very fast at getting rid of many lands. And again, it's resource denial, and only hitting basic lands means you're not gonna use this on particularly annoying lands like a Field of the Dead or a couple coffers or a cradle. So you're just using this to deny your opponents the ability to play the game. That's not fun for anyone. Everyone would rather you pay this 8 mana would be invested in a clear of Behemoth and you just kill them instead of playing Sundering Titan and get rid of every single land, and they gotta watch you when you attack for 7 for 15 turns until the table's dead. So yeah, Sundering Titan is the ban list. You should stay in the ban list, no one needs this. There are a gajillion more interesting artifact creature bombs you can play, especially in Navi Brothers War. So that's it for the Titan, and we'll go over to another very funny card in limited resources. It's an enchantment for 1, and when it comes into play, each player chooses 5 lands Yoshi controls and sacrifices the rest. As long as there are 10 or more lands in play, players cannot play lands. It costs only 1 white. Whew, this card not only is extremely not fun, but it's also extremely strong. You could very easily build around this. You make a deck that works on very little mana, or that relies almost 100% on artifact sources. You turn this up, you play it, it's extremely cheap, hard to remove being enchantment, and you load your deck with ways to protect it. And you have a deck that hits resources extremely well and very consistently. So why it's banned? Again, stacks is not fun, the ban list speaks for it. This is another piece, would be insanely good in a stacks deck. When you play Commander with friends, stacks is not what you wanna play. You want people to pull their cards into the battlefield and have fun. You don't want them to stare at the table boringly and pass the turn, being annoyed. So this card is banned. It should be banned. No one wants this off a ban list. Maybe some spiky EDH players would want to play with this card. I would say they can rule 0 this season if they want. I would encourage a EDH player to play with this if their table agrees. Otherwise, in casual play, please keep this banned. Next up is Coalition Victory. This is a very peculiar card. It's in 5 color for 8 mana. It's a sorcery. It costs 3, a white, a blue, a black, a red and a green. And it says you win the game if you control a land of each basic land type and a creature of each color. You can build a perfect machine out of imperfect parts, said Urza. Now, why would this Coalition Victory be banned? You look at it, you see 8 mana. You see you can win the game rather easily. This card, I heard many times people want this unbanned. I play 5 colors Legends with CC as my commander, would be very flavorful. I think it should stay banned. Why? The reason is that restriction in Commander 2022 is nothing. When this card was printed, there were no cards that made the lands having multiple types, like the Dryad of the Elysian Grove, and there weren't lands that inherently had multiple types, like Shocklands and Triomes. So this makes very, very easy to achieve the victory condition of the Coalition Victory. And it just makes the card being 8 mana win the game. If your opponent could instant speed blow up your 5 color creature, then yeah, this card will fizzle, you would win, you pay 8, you do nothing, you're sad. But again, if that happens, you don't feel good. If it happens, your opponents don't feel good. I think there is no fun way to build around Coalition Victory. It's a stupid card. You just say you win the game for no reason at all because those requirements are stupid. So even if it's a lot of mana, I don't think it's a fun way to close out a Commander game. Please attack me for lethal. Don't cast Coalition Victory. It should stay on the ban list. No one's gonna have fun with this. If it come off, some people will play it. We'll find out. It will be easy to win with this. It will take it out. It's very similar to Approach of the Second Sun. It's more powerful because you need to cast it only once. The requirements are way easier than Approach of the Second Sun. Way, way easier. Drawing 7 cards isn't as difficult as owning a 5-color creature in play. And don't get me started on the different basic land types. In any 5-color decks that has a decent mana base, you have that on turn 3 consistently. So yeah, I don't think anyone needs Collision Victory. As much as I think Approach of the Second Sun, I don't like it. It's legal, it exists. I don't think it's fun. Collision Victory isn't fun either. It should stay on the ban list. Maybe Approach of the Second Sun should join it. Just throwing it out. Next up, Balance is a 2-mana sorcery for 1 and a white, and it says whichever player has more lands in play must discard enough lands. Yeah, let me pull out an actual readable version of this card because I can't read that. So I was saying each player chooses a number of lands they control equal to the number of lands controlled by the player who controls the fewest, then sacrifices the rest. Players discard cards and sacrifice creatures the same way. This is a heavy resource denial card and the most powerful stacks piece in Magic, easily. This card is limited to 1 in Vintage, banned in Legacy. There's good reason for it, it's not just because it's not fun. This card is also extremely powerful and hard to interact with, being cheap and being a sorcery. Should this card come off on the ban list? Of course not. No one would have fun playing against it. It's not even a meme card. It's just stupid, extremely broken. You can very easily build around this. Big 2 mana. You can make a lot of disgusting combo with this. Like float 6, play Balance and play Splendid Reclamation. Get back all your lands. Meme on your opponents. So no, Balance should remain on the ban list. It's there for a reason. No one's gonna argue against it. Come off. And we go over the next card. Iona, Shield of Mirror is a legendary creature. It's an angel for 9 mana, 6 and triple white. He has flying, but most importantly, when he enters the battlefield, you choose a color and your opponent cannot cast spells of the chosen color. No more shall the righteous cower before evil. It's a 7/7 and she's not banned because it's racist. She is banned because apparently people cannot play around this card. I am very confused since this is a 9 mana angel creature. Now, is this card powerful? I would say no. 9 mana? You can do so many things more broken than this. At the same time, I can see in casual play, if you don't build your deck thinking about Iona, it could lock you out of the game. Maybe if you're playing a mono color deck, you need to have a very ready response for this. You can have it, I mean, it's not the battlefield trigger, it's not a cast trigger, which means when she enters, her effect goes on the stack. So if you have like something like Go for the Throat or a Path to Exile, you can cast it, remove Iona, and her effect does nothing. So even in one color deck, you will be able to kill this very easily. Now, I heard people complaining about this being reanimated early. I've never seen it once. I can understand why Yona is banned and Gengitaxias isn't. For who doesn't know, Gengitaxias is a 10 mana legendary creature Praetor. It has flash and it says at the beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards. Each opponent maximum end size is reduced by 7. It's a 5/4. So it costs 1 more mana. It owes everyone because you're not playing at a table of 3 people of mono red players. So Iona is not gonna owe the entire table. Gengitaxias is. He's gonna make everyone discard the hand. And I've seen Gengitaxias reanimated turn 2 multiple times. Well, I've never seen Yona. It also has flash, so it's more flexible if you have to hardcast it. This argument could be made for many cards, but I'm making it for Iona because she was a recent ban. Unlike the vast majority of the ban lists in Commander that are very old, Iona was fairly recently banned. So why Iona over Genghis Access? There are a couple of reasons. I can get behind those. So Genghis Access is a card that everyone at the table hates, except the caster, of course. So everyone will work together to get rid of him. Iona, not so much, because if you're playing Dimmer, let's say, and there's a Iona on the table that says green, I look at her and I'm saying, I'm happy with it, and I'm not attacking it and not killing it because it's stopping another player from playing the game, and I'm very happy about it because my deck functions exactly the same since I don't have green in it. So I'm not killing Yona, she's staying on the battlefield, the player who's losing cannot kill it because it's monocolored. So they're not playing, they're looking at the card and they're staying still. Unlike against Access, that's the whole table's gonna try and kill it, so it makes it harder to stick it into play, even though it tells everyone. I think it's a very much a consensus that also King Access isn't a very fun card, and people usually don't play that in casual. Well, I've seen Yona played in casual. I personally played Yona in casual when I first started playing because I really love angels. I have played tribal angels with many different commanders, many different colors, and I included Yona because she's one of the biggest and most amazing ones. I'm sad that she's gone for that reason. When she first was banned, I was very angry. But then again, thinking about it now, I don't hate it that much anymore, even though I own a couple copies of her, because I can see why it wouldn't be fun to sit on a table over an opposing Iona. So, even though she really wasn't played, I can understand why she was banned. It makes for a decent poster child for all cards that say target opponent cannot play the game. Yona doesn't exactly read like that, but she's there to remind every commander player that wants to include cards that read like that to maybe think about it a couple times, because they're not gonna be very fun for everyone. Up next, Upheaval. The funniest sorcery in the game for 4 and double blue. It says return all permanents to their owner's hands. Extremely fun. The calm comes after the storm. Very calm. Very true. This resolves. No one has anything in play. Fun. So, why is this card on the ban list? Everyone knows this resolves, no one plays the game anymore, we restart, everything is in hands, so everyone will discard to their hand size. Can you play around Upheaval? Yes, you can definitely win with an Upheaval. For example, you have 9 modified, you go to Fairy's Protection, you go Upheaval, you win the game. Or you do whatever sort of shenanigans, maybe you have emblems into play, you manage to put an emblem, you go Upheaval, you still have the emblem, you win with it. You will be able to play around this card would see play, because it's a powerful card. It's banned because it's not fast and win the game. It's very slow, very miserable to play against. When this resolve, you pick up all your stuff and you look at your opponent that hopefully has a plan with it to win. By now, everyone should have got that you shouldn't get rid of people's lands. You should try to find other ways to close out a game. That's not taking 55 minutes of slogging, and Upheaval is probably the #1 card that represents that, because returning all permanents makes it really hard to leave stuff back. As I said, you can, but not easily. And I can very much see someone that doesn't have an out, it's a very bad board state, goes Upheaval, you restart the game, you get very sad. So yeah, Upheaval should remain banned. No one's gonna want it by Upheaval. Now, probably the #1 card I hate that's banned, Braids. Cabal Minion. For 2 and double black, it's a legendary creature minion. It's an air commander, and it says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact, a creature, or a land. Now, she looks a bit crazy, but for 4 mana she's a 2/2, and her effect is not very powerful. It really isn't, I'm sorry. I mean, she comes down turn 3, I guess, with ramp. The more I think about it, the more I think she should stay banned. Now, imagine a world where she's legal and you're playing against a Braids deck. So your opponent goes like, plays Shadow Infiltrator on turn 1. Turn 2 he plays whatever mana rock you want in the game. Turn 3 he plays Braids. Let's say you go first. So it's your turn 3. And you start your turn 3 and you got suck a land. Now that's bad. Yeah, I changed my mind right now. Raid is banned for very good reasons. I wasn't thinking about it when I just started talking, but imagine a game where Braids is in command zone. Really bad. I don't think she would be a problem out of the command zone in the 99 because you couldn't have reliably access to her. But still, if you can put her into play very early, it's extremely swinging if you're the first to play or not. If you're the last to play and you put this turn 3 down, it's way different than turn 4. Because starting turn 4 you have enough mana to do stuff, starting turn 3 you don't. So there's also that. You don't want many cards that are extremely swinging on the turn cycle, since Commander for some odd reason doesn't have any rules for turn order, which I'll never understand and I hate it. But yeah, Braids should be banned because if it comes on turn 3 on the play, it's insane and no one plays the game. Bye bye Braids. Your new form is very cool though. I don't like it personally, but it exists, so if someone wants to play with this crazy maniac looking girl, they can. Next up is Trade Secrets. The artwork is so cool. I love Cephalates. Now, 1 and double blue is a sorcery, and it says target opponent draws 2 cards, then you draw up to 4 cards. And if that was it, wouldn't be that bad. Unfortunately, it goes on and says target opponent may repeat this process as many times as he or she chooses. What does this mean? Well, it means simply that you cannot get decked, of course, because it says up to 4 cards, meaning that if you don't want to draw 4 cards, you can avoid to do so. And your opponent can decide how many cards you want to play, if you want to draw, and you can decide how many cards you want to draw. What's the problem? You're both having a lot of fun, because you're drawing a lot of cards, and drawing many cards is fun. Well, 4 players turns out are at the table, and 2 people are watching you and target opponent you've chosen. Pay 3 mana to draw 40 cards, and that's stupid. And yeah, this card really works bad in multiplayer games. It's banned because it really is swingy. It makes the game really skewed towards the 2 players that agreed to draw a gajillion cards. So it should stay banned. It's not going off. If you want to draw cards with target opponent, you still can do so with many cards in blue and white, so you're not missing this effect. It's gonna stay banned. If you want to have this dynamic, you can still do it with a Consecrated Sphinx. If you have one and another opponent has one, you can very happily decide to trigger your Consecrated Sphinx to another Consecrated Sphinx. I should read it, I guess. Wait a second. So the Sphinx is a 6 mana creature. It's a Sphinx, of course. It's a 4/6 with flying, and it says whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. So what happens when 2 are in play? The player number 1 draws a card with the Sphinx. The player number 2 says, oh, I want to draw 2 cards. And then the player number 1 says, then I want to draw 2 cards. And then they go infinite. So they can draw the deck if they want to, so you can still achieve this. It's way harder. It's 6 mana. It's a 6 mana creatures, and you and another player need to play this. So you can still have this meme dynamic if you want it, but it's way harder to pull off. So Traded Secrets is in the ban list, should stay there. Next card is Biorhythm. For 6 and double green, total 8 is a sorcery, and it reads each player's life total becomes the number of creatures he or she controls. I have seen life's purpose, and now it is my own, said Kamal the Druid Acolyte. Now I heard many people say this card shouldn't be banned because it's 8 mana, it's sorcery, it's a kind of funny effect. Let me say it isn't. What happens when someone plays Biorhythm? First, it hates on decks that do not have many creatures. For second, it can be very easily abused. You play, there is a card that's, I've heard it's pretty good in Commander, that can remove creatures but not yours from the battlefield. Any creatures that's not yours, gone. At conveniently one less mana than this, it will curve out very smoothly and you will win the game. That card, of course, is Cyclonic Rift. You can go Cyclonic Rift on top, Biorhythm, GG. That's stupid. You can do it with many other mass bounce in blue, like Evacuation for example, or even something different like, I don't know, Whelming Wave. You just play any kind of 1-drop elf afterwards and you Biorhythm and win. That's 100% of this card will be played. If you think anyone will play this in any other ways, you're wrong. This is 8 mana, you're playing it in that way. Another, same mana cost as Creator of Behemoth. If you have many creatures and want to win, you should play, you're gonna be way happier with something like a Triumph of the Horse or a Behemoth, as I said, or I don't know, an Overwhelming Stampede. You're not playing Biorhythm in a quote-unquote fair way ever. This is, every time you're gonna say this, it's always gonna be bounce all your stuff or destroy all your stuff. Then I keep one, or I keep all of it if it's Cyclonic Rift, and then I cast this and it's game. So there are no fun applications of this card. It's only gonna be miserable if ever resolves, so it should stay banned. No one really wants this. And that was it for the cards that I've put in the annoying category. For today, the video comes to an end. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. And comment if you don't agree with my analysis. I wanna hear your opinions down below. And stay on the lookout for part 3 that's coming soon. This was Eve. Thanks for watching.